All right. Next. So let's go to Brainstorm 1. I just did AV14. Let's go ahead and yellow it. Let's 3. Biscuits, gravy. And then for lunch, I had a French dip, au jus, and then maybe 15. All right. I decided today would be my sort of Sabbath day, so I haven't really done any work. I haven't really done anything work-wise. So, let's see. I think I'm going to do Bible AV15 and then do some of that open stacks. Okay. Okay, let's see. So AV15, back. That's going to be numbers 10 through 18. Numbers 10. Sec. Jehovah then said to Moses, "Make 2 trumpets for yourself. Make them of hammered silver, and use them to summon the assembly and to break up the camps. When both of them are blown, the whole assembly must be summoned to you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. If just one is blown, only the chieftains, the heads of the thousands of Israel, will be summoned to you. When you sound a fluctuating trumpet blast, the camps of those to the east should depart. When you sound a fluctuating trumpet blast a second time, the camps of those to the south should depart. They should sound the trumpet blasts in this way each time one of them departs. Now, when calling the congregation together, you should blow the trumpets, but not with fluctuating blasts. Aaron's sons, the priests, should blow the trumpets, and the use of them will serve as a lasting statute for you throughout your generations. If you should go to war in your land against an oppressor who is harassing you, you should sound a war call on the trumpets, and you will be remembered by Jehovah your God, and be saved by your enemies. Also, on your joyous occasions, your festivals, and at the beginnings of your months, you are to sound the trumpets over your burnt offerings and your communion sacrifices. They will serve as a reminder for you before your God. I am Jehovah your God. Now in the second year, in the second month, on the 20th day of the month, the cloud lifted over the tabernacle of the testimony. So the Israelites began to pull away from the wilderness of Sinai in the order established for their departure, and the cloud settled in the wilderness of Paran. This was the first time they departed following the order of Jehovah through Moses. So the 3-tribe division of the camp of the sons of Judah departed first by their companies, and Nashon, the son of Amminadab, was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Issachar was Nathanael, the son of Zuar. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Zebulun was Eliab, the son of Helon. When the tabernacle was taken down, the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari, who carried the tabernacle, departed. Then the 3-tribe division of the camp of Reuben departed by their companies, and Elazar, the son of Shedeur, was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Simeon was Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Gad was Eliasaph, the son of Doel. Then the Kohathites who carried the sanctuary items departed. The tabernacle was to be set up by the time they arrived. Then the 3-tribe division of the camp of the sons of Ephraim departed by their companies, and Elishama, the son of Ammihud, was over its company. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Manasseh was Gamaliel, the son of Pedazur. Over the company of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin was Abidan, the son of Gideoni. Then the three-tribe division of the camp of the sons of Dan departed by their companies, forming the rear guard for all the camps. And Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, was over its company. Over the company of the tribes of the sons of Asher was Pagiel, the son of Achran. Over the company of the tribe of Naphtali was Ahira, the son of Enan. This was the order of departure that the Israelites and their companies followed when they would depart. Then Moses said to Hobab, the son of Reuel, the Midianites, the father-in-law of Moses, "We are setting out for the place about which Jehovah said, 'I will give it to you.' Do come with us, and we will treat you well, because Jehovah has promised good things for Israel." But he said to him, "I will not go. I will return to my own country and to my relatives." And at this he said, "Please do not leave us, for you know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you can serve as our guide. And if you do come with us, whatever goodness Jehovah shows to us, we will surely show to you." So they began marching from the mountain of Jehovah for a journey of 3 days, and the ark of Jehovah's covenant traveled before them for the 3-day journey to search out a resting place for them. And Jehovah's cloud was over them by day when they set out from the encampment. Whenever the ark was moved, Moses would say, "Rise up, O Jehovah, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee from before you." And when it would rest, he would say, "Do return, O Jehovah, to the thousands of Israel." All right, one sec. I'm going to go ahead and connect to my cycler for the night. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, Numbers 11. Now the people began to complain bitterly before Jehovah. When Jehovah heard it, his anger flared, and a fire from Jehovah began to blaze against them and to consume some of the outskirts of the camp. When the people began to cry out to Moses, he made supplication to Jehovah, and the fire died out. So that place was given the name Taberah, because a fire from Jehovah had blazed against them. The mixed crowd who were in the midst then expressed selfish longing, and the Israelites too began to weep again and say, "Who will give us meat to eat? How fondly we remember the fish that we used to eat without cost in Egypt, also the cucumbers, the watermelons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now we are withering away. We see nothing at all except this manna." Incidentally, the manna was like coriander seed, and it looked like bdellium gum. The people would spread out and pick it up and grind it in hand mills or pound it in a mortar. Then they would boil it in cooking pots and make it into round loaves, and it tasted like an oiled sweet cake. When the dew descended on the camp by night, the manna would also descend on it. Moses heard the people weeping, family after family, each man at the entrance of his tent. And Jehovah became very angry, and Moses was also very displeased. Then Moses said to Jehovah, "Why have you afflicted your servant? Why have I not found favor in your eyes, so that you put the burden of all this people on me? Did I conceive all this people? Did I give birth to them, so that you should tell me, 'Carry them in your bosom,' just as an attendant carries the nursing child to the land that you swore to give to their forefathers? From where will I get meat to give all to all this people? For they keep weeping before me, saying, 'Give us meat to eat.' I am not able to bear all this people by myself. It is too much for me. If this is how you are going to treat me, please kill me right now. If I have found favor in your eyes, do not make me see any more calamity." Jehovah replied to Moses, "Gather for me 70 men from the elders of Israel, men whom you recognize as elders and officials of the people, and take them to the tent of meeting, and have them stand there with you. I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take away some of the spirit that is on you and place it on them, and they will help you in bearing the burden of the people so that you may not have to bear it alone. You should say to the people, 'Sanctify yourselves for tomorrow, for you will certainly eat meat, because you have wept in Jehovah's hearing, and have said, Who will give us meat to eat? It was better for us in Egypt. Jehovah will certainly give you meat, and you will eat. You will eat, not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days, but for a whole month of days, until it comes out of your nostrils, and it has become loathsome to you. For you rejected Jehovah, who is in your midst, and you were weeping before him, saying, Why is it that we have come out of Egypt? Then Moses said, The people I am among number 600,000 men on foot, and yet you yourself have said, Meat I will give them, and they will eat enough for a whole month of days? If whole flocks and herds were slaughtered, would it be enough for them? Or if all the fish of the sea were caught, would it be enough for them? Jehovah then said to Moses, Is the hand of Jehovah too short? Now you will see whether what I say will happen to you or not. So Moses went out and spoke the words of Jehovah to the people, and he gathered 70 men from the elders of the people and had them stand around the tent. Then Jehovah came down in a cloud and spoke to him, and took away some of the spirit that was on him, and put it on each of the 70 elders. And as soon as the spirit settled down on them, they began to behave as prophets, but they did not do it again. There were two of the men still in the camp. Their names were Eldad and Medad. And the Spirit began to settle down on them, and they were among those whose names had been written down, but they had not gone out of to the tent. So they began to behave as prophets in the camp. And a young man ran and reported to Moses, Eldad and Medad are behaving as prophets in the camp. Then Joshua, the son of Nun, the minister of Moses from his youth, responded and said, My lord Moses, restrain them. But Moses said to them, Are you jealous for me? No, I wish that all of Jehovah's people were prophets, and that Jehovah would put his spirit on them. Later Moses returned to the camp along with the elders of Israel. Then a wind from Jehovah sprang up and began driving quail from the sea and causing them to fall around the camp, about a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, and they were about 2 cubits deep on the ground. So all that day and all night and all the next day, the people stayed up and gathered the quail. No one gathered less than homers, and they kept spreading them all around the camp for themselves. But while the meat was still between their teeth before it could be chewed, Jehovah's anger blazed against the people, and Jehovah began striking the people with a very great slaughter. So they gave the place the name Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they buried, oh no, I have to say it again, the people who showed selfish craving. From Kibroth Hattaavah, the people departed for Hazeroth, and they remained in Hazeroth. Now Miriam and Aaron began to speak against Moses because of the Cushite wife he had married, for he had taken a Cushite wife. They were saying, Is it only by Moses that Jehovah has spoken? Has he not also spoken through us? And Jehovah was listening. Now the man Moses was by far the meekest of all the men on the face of the earth. Jehovah suddenly said to Moses and Aaron and Miriam, Go out, the three of you, to the tent of meeting. So the three of them went out. And Jehovah came down in the pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam. Both of them went forward. He then said, Hear my words, please. If there was a prophet of Jehovah among you, I would make myself known to him in a vision, and I would speak to him in a dream. But it is not that way with my servant Moses. He is being entrusted with all my house. Face to face I speak to him, openly, not by riddles, and the appearance of Jehovah is what he sees. Why then did you not fear to speak against my servant, against Moses? So Jehovah's anger burned against them, and he departed from them. The cloud moved away from over the tent, and look, Miriam was struck with leprosy as white as snow. Then Aaron turned toward Miriam, and he saw that she was struck with leprosy. Immediately Aaron said to Moses, I beg you, my lord, please do not hold this sin against us. We have acted foolishly in what we have done. Please do not let her continue like someone dead, whose flesh is half eaten away at birth. And Moses began to cry out to Jehovah, saying, Oh God, please heal her, please. Jehovah replied to Moses, If her father would spit directly in her face, would she not be humiliated for 7 days? Let her be quarantined for 7 days outside the camp, and afterward she may be brought back in. So Miriam was quarantined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not break camp until Miriam was brought back in. Then the people departed from Hazeroth and began camping in the wilderness of Paran. Numbers 13. Jehovah now spoke to Moses, saying, one sec. Send out men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. You are to send out one man from each ancestral tribe, each one a chieftain among them. So Moses sent them out from the wilderness of Paran at the order of Jehovah. All the men were heads of Israelites. These are the names of the tribe of Reuben: Shammua, the son of Zakur, of the tribe of Simeon; Shaphat, the son of Hori, of the tribe of Judah; Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, of the tribe of Issachar; Igal, the son of Joseph, of the tribe of Ephraim; Hosea, the son of Nun, of the tribe of Benjamin; Palti, the son of Raphu, of the tribe of Zebulun; Gadiel, the son of Sodi, of the tribe of Joseph; for the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, the son of Susi; of the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gamali; of the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael; of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, the son of Vophsi; of the tribe of Gad, Goyal, the son of Maki. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, and Moses gave them the name Joshua to Hosea, the son of Nun. When Moses was sending them to spy out the land of Canaan, he said to them, "Go up there into the Negeb, and then go up into the mountainous region. You must see what kind of land it is, and whether the people who are dwelling in it are strong or weak, few or many, and whether the land is good or bad, whether the cities they are dwelling in are encampments or fortifications, and find out whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are trees in it or not. You must be courageous, and take some of the fruitage of the land." Now it was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob near Lebohamath. When they went up into the Negeb, they came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the Anakim, were living. Incidentally, Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan of Egypt. When they came to the valley of Eshcol, there they cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes, which 2 of the men had to carry on a bar, as well as some of the pomegranates and figs. They called that place the valley of Eshcol because of the cluster that the Israelites cut down from there. At the end of the 40 days, they returned from spying out the land. So they came back to Moses and Aaron and all the assembly of the Israelites in the wilderness of Paran and at Kadesh. They brought back a report to all the assembly and showed them the fruitage of the land. This is what they reported to Moses: "We entered the land into which you sent us, and it is indeed flowing with milk and honey, and this is its fruitage. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the fortified cities are very great. We also saw the Anakim there. The Amalekites are dwelling in the land of the Negeb, and the Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites are dwelling in the mountainous region, and the Canaanites are dwelling by the sea and along the Jordan." Then Caleb tried to calm down the people as they stood before Moses by saying, "Let us go up immediately, and we are sure to take possession of it, because we can surely conquer it." But the men who went up with them said, "We are not able to go up against the people, because they are stronger than we are." And they kept on giving the Israelites a bad report about the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land that we passed through to spy out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of extraordinary size. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who are from the Nephilim, and in comparison we seemed like grasshoppers, both to us and to them." Numbers 14. Then all the assembly raised their voice, and the people continued crying out and weeping all through that night. All the Israelites began to murmur against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly spoke against them, saying, "If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Why is Jehovah bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and children will become plunder. Is it not better for us to return to Egypt?" They were even saying to one another, "Let us appoint a leader and return to Egypt." At this, Moses and Aaron fell with their faces to the ground before the whole assembled congregation of the Israelites. Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who spied out the land, ripped their garments apart. And they said this to all the assembly of the Israelites: the land that we passed through to spy out this is a very good land. If Jehovah is pleased with us, he will certainly bring us into this land and give it to us, a land that is flowing with milk and honey. But if you must not rebel against Jehovah, and you must not fear the people of the land, for we will devour them. Their protection has been removed from them, and Jehovah is with us. Do not fear them. However, all the assembly talked of stoning them, but Jehovah's glory appeared on the tent of meeting to all the people of Israel. Then Jehovah said to Moses, how much longer will this people treat me without respect? And how much longer will they not put faith in me in spite of all the signs that I performed among them? Let me strike them with pestilence and drive them away, and let me make you into a nation greater and mightier than they are. But Moses said to Jehovah, then the Egyptians, from whose midst you brought this people out by your power, will hear, and they will speak about it to the inhabitants of this land. These also have heard that you, Jehovah, are among this people, and have appeared to them face to face. You are Jehovah, and your cloud is standing over them, and you are going before them in the pillar of cloud by day and in pillar of fire by night. If you put this people to death all at once, the nations who have heard of your fame would say this: Jehovah was not able to bring his people into the land he swore to give them, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness. Please now, Jehovah, let your power be great, as you promised when you said, Jehovah, slow to anger and abundant in loyal love, pardoning error and transgression, but he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished, bringing punishment for the error of fathers upon sons, upon the third generation and upon the fourth generation. Forgive, please, the error of this people according to your great loyal love, just as you have pardoned this people from Egypt until now. Then Jehovah said, I forgive them according to your word. But on the other hand, as surely as I live, all the earth will be filled with the glory of Jehovah. However, not one of the men who have seen my glory and my signs that I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, and yet have kept testing me these 10 times and have not listened to my voice, will ever see the land about which I swore to their fathers. No, not one of those treating me without respect will see it. But because my servant Caleb had a different spirit and kept following after me wholeheartedly, I will certainly bring him into the land where he went, and his offspring will take possession of it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are dwelling in the valley, you should turn back tomorrow and set off for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Jehovah then said to Moses and Aaron, how much longer will this evil assembly keep up this murmuring against me? I have heard. How many was it? 400? Okay. As surely as I live, in this wilderness, your corpses will fall. Yes, the whole number of you, from 20 years old up, who were registered, all of you who have murmured against me, none of you will enter into the land that I swore to have you reside in, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. And I will bring you in your children who have said would become plunder, and they will get to know the land that you have rejected, but your own corpses will fall in this wilderness. Now your sons will become shepherds in the wilderness 40 years, and they will have to answer for your acts of unfaithfulness until the last one of your corpses falls in the wilderness. According to the number of the days that you spied out the land, 40 days, a day for a year, a day for a year, you will answer for your errors 40 years, for you will know what it means to oppose me. I, Jehovah, have spoken. This is what I will do to all this evil assembly. Those who have gathered together against me in this wilderness, they will come to their end, and here they will die. The men whom Moses sent to spy out the land and who caused the whole assembly to murmur against him, when they returned with a bad report about the land, yes, the men who brought back the bad report about the land will be struck down and die before Jehovah. But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who went to spy out the land, will certainly keep living. When Moses spoke these words to all the Israelites, the people began to mourn a great deal. Moreover, they got up early in the morning and tried to go up to the top of the mountain, saying, here we are, ready to go up to the place that Jehovah spoke about, for we have sinned. But Moses said, "Why are you going beyond the order of Jehovah? This will not succeed. Do not go up, for Jehovah is not with you, and you will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there to face you, and you will fall by the sword, because you turned away from following Jehovah. Jehovah will not be with you." However, they presumptuously went toward the top of the mountain, but the ark of Jehovah's covenant and Moses did not move away from the middle of the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who were dwelling in that mountain came down and struck them, scattering them as far as Hormah. Numbers 15. Jehovah spoke further to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you eventually come into the land that I am giving you to dwell in, and you make an offering by fire to Jehovah from the herd or from the flock, whether a burnt offering or a sacrifice, to perform a special vow or a voluntary offering, or an offering during your seasonal festivals, in order to make a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, the one presenting his offering must also present to Jehovah a grain offering of fine flour, a tenth of an ephah, mixed with a fourth of a hin of oil. You should also offer wine as a drink offering, a fourth of a hin, together with the burnt offering, or for the sacrifice of each male lamb, or for a ram, you should make a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah measure of fine flour, mixed with a third of a hin of oil. And you should present wine as a drink offering, a third of a hin as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. Okay, note, just pause for a second. I just had an amazing idea. So I've been talking about getting into the animation thing. I think for now, because I have the iPad that has it's good for drawing and good for writing, I'll learn how to draw on that, and then when I can get into doing like science experiments and stuff, I can record myself doing that, and then after I get like the results and the conclusions and all that stuff, and write my own little paper on it, I can also make an animation. That'd be super cool. It'd be really interesting. So maybe I'll do like a, I don't know. We'll figure that out. Sorry, I had to stop. All right, I'm going to reread 15. Jehovah spoke further to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you eventually come into the land that I am giving you to dwell in, and you make an offering by fire to Jehovah from the herd or from the flock, whether a burnt offering or a sacrifice to perform a special vow or a voluntary offering or an offering during your seasonal festivals, in order to make a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, the one presenting his offering must also present to Jehovah a grain offering of fine flour, a tenth of an ephah, mixed with a fourth of a hin of oil. You should also offer wine as a drink offering, a fourth of a hin, together with the burnt offering, or the sacrifice of each male lamb. Or for a ram, you should make a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah measure of fine flour, mixed with a third of a hin of oil. And you should present wine as a drink offering, a third of a hin, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. But if you should offer a male of the herd as a burnt offering, or a sacrifice to perform a special vow, or communion sacrifices to Jehovah, you should also present together with the male of the herd a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah measure of fine flour mixed with a half a hin of oil. You should also present wine as a drink offering, half a hin as an offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. This is what should be done for each bull, or for each ram, or for each of the male lambs or the goats. Whatever may be the number that you offer, that is what you should do for each one, according to their number. This is how every native born Israelite should present an offering made by fire as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. If a foreigner who is residing with you, or one who has been in your midst for many of your generations, should also make an offering by fire as a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, he should do just as you do. You who are of the congregation, and the foreigner who is residing with you will have one statute. It will be a lasting statute for all your generations. The foreign resident should be the same as you before Jehovah. There should be one law and one judicial decision for you and for the foreigner who is residing with you." Jehovah went on to say to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, when you come into the land where I am bringing you, and you eat any of the bread of the land, you should make a contribution to Jehovah, and you should make a contribution of the first fruits of your course meal as ring-shaped loaves, like the contribution of a threshing floor is the way you should contribute it. Some of the first fruits of your course meal should give as a contribution to Jehovah throughout your generations. Now, if you make a mistake and fail to observe all these commandments that Jehovah has spoken to Moses, all that Jehovah has commanded you through Moses from the day that Jehovah commanded and onward for your generations, and if it was done by mistake and without the knowledge of the assembly, the whole assembly must offer one young bull as a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma to Jehovah, together with its grain offering and its drink offering according to the regular procedure, and one goat as a sin offering. The priest will make atonement for the whole assembly of the Israelites, and it will be forgiven them, because it was a mistake. And they brought as their offering an offering made by fire to Jehovah, and their sin offering before Jehovah for their mistake. It will be forgiven the whole assembly of the Israelites and the foreigner who is residing in their midst, because it was by mistake on part of all the people. If any person should sin by mistake, then he must present a female goat in its first year for a sin offering, and the priest will make atonement for the person who made a mistake by an unintentional sin before Jehovah, so as to make atonement for it, and it will be forgiven him. As for the native born among the Israelites and the foreigner who is residing in their midst, there should be one law for you in the matter of doing something unintentionally. But the person who does something deliberately, whether he is native born or a foreign resident, is blaspheming Jehovah and must be cut off from among his people. Because he has despised Jehovah's word and broken his commandment, that person should be cut off without fail, his own error upon him. While the Israelites were in the wilderness, they found a man collecting pieces of wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him collecting wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly. They committed him into custody because it had not been specified what should be done to him. And Jehovah said to Moses, the man should be put to death without fail, and the whole assembly should stone him outside the camp. So the whole assembly brought him outside the camp and stoned him so that he died, just as Jehovah had commanded Moses. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, speak to the Israelites and tell them that they must make for themselves fringed edges on the skirts of their garments throughout their generations, and they are to put a blue string above the fringed edge of the skirt. You must have this fringed edge so that you will see it and remember all the commandments of Jehovah and observe them. You must not follow your own hearts and eyes, which are leading you to spiritual prostitution. This will help you remember, and you will observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Jehovah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt in order to prove myself your God. I am Jehovah your God. Number 16. Then Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, got up together with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, and of the sons of Reuben. They rose up against Moses along with 250 Israelite men, chieftains of the assembly, chosen ones of the congregation, prominent men. So they gathered together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, we have had enough of you. The whole assembly is holy. All of them, and Jehovah is in their midst. Why then should you exalt yourselves above the congregation of Jehovah? When Moses heard this, he at once fell face down. Then he said to Korah and to all his supporters, in the morning Jehovah will make known who belongs to him and who is holy and who should approach him, and whomever he may choose will approach him. Do this. Take fire holders, Korah and all your supporters, and put fire in them and place incense on them before Jehovah tomorrow, and the man whom Jehovah will choose, he is the Holy One. You sons of Levi have gone far enough. Moses then said to Korah, listen, please, you sons of Levi, does it seem to you such a little thing that the God of Israel has separated you from the assembly of Israel and allowed you to approach him in order to perform the service of Jehovah's tabernacle and to stand before the assembly to minister to them? And that he brought you near to him along with all your brothers, the sons of Levi? Must you also try to secure the priesthood? For this reason, You and all your supporters who are gathering together are against Jehovah. As for Aaron, who is he that you should murmur against him? Moses later sent for Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said, We are not going to come. Is it so little a thing that you have brought us up out of the lands flowing with milk and honey to put us to death in the wilderness? Now do you also want to make yourself an absolute ruler over us? As it is, you have not brought us into any land flowing with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyard. Would you bore out the eyes of those men? We are not going to come. So Moses became very angry and said to Jehovah, Do not turn. Oh, jeez. There was a spasm. God, I hate those. All right. So Moses became very angry and said to Jehovah, Do not turn to look at their grain offering. Not one donkey have I taken away from them, nor have I harmed one of them. Then Moses said to Korah, Present yourself with all your supporters before Jehovah tomorrow. You and they and Aaron, each one should take his fire holder and put incense on it, and each will present his fire holder before Jehovah. 250 fire holders, together with you and Aaron, each with his fire holder. So each of them took his fire holder, and they put fire and incense on them, and stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting together with Moses and Aaron. When Korah had gathered his supporters against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting, Jehovah's glory appeared to all the assembly. Jehovah now told Moses and Aaron, Separate yourselves from among this group, so that I may exterminate them in an instant. At this they fell with their faces to the ground and said, O God, the God of the spirit of all people, will one man's sin cause you to become indignant against the entire assembly? Jehovah then said to Moses, Speak to the assembly and tell them, Get away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Then Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel went with him. He told the assembly, Move away, please, from the tents of these wicked men, and do not touch anything that belongs to them, so that you may not be swept away in all their sin. They immediately moved away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram from every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out, taking their stand at the entrance of their tents, together with their wives, their sons, and their little children. Then Moses said, By this you will know that Jehovah has sent me to do all these things, that it is not of my own heart if these people die a natural death, as all men do, and if their punishment is the same as that of all mankind, then Jehovah has not sent me. But if Jehovah does something extraordinary with them, and the ground opens and swallows them and everything that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the grave, you will certainly know that these men have treated Jehovah disrespectfully. As soon as he finished speaking all these words, the ground beneath them split apart, and the earth opened and swallowed them up, along with their households and everyone who belonged to Korah, and all their goods. And all who belonged to them went down alive into the grave, and the earth covered them over, so that they perished from the midst of the congregation. All the Israelites who were around from them fled at their screaming, for they said, We are afraid that the earth may swallow us up. Then a fire came out from Jehovah and consumed the 250 men offering the incense. Jehovah now said to Moses, Tell Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, to take the fire holders out of the fire, for they are holy. Also tell him to scatter the fire some distance away. The fire holders of the men who sinned at the cost of their lives should be made into thin metal plates to overlay the altar, because they presented them before Jehovah, and they became holy. They should serve as a sign to the Israelites. So Eleazar, the priest, took copper fire holders that had been presented by those who were burnt up, and beat them to overlay the altar, just as Jehovah had told him through Moses. It was a reminder for the Israelites that no unauthorized person who is not of the offspring of Aaron should approach to burn incense before Jehovah, and that no one should become like Korah and his supporters. On the very next day, the whole assembly of the Israelites began to murmur against Moses and Aaron, saying, You two have put Jehovah's people to death. When the assembly had gathered together against Moses and Aaron, they then turned toward the tent of meeting, and look, the cloud covered it, and Jehovah's glory began to appear. Moses and Aaron went before the tent of meeting, and Jehovah said to Moses, "You men, remove yourselves from among this assembly, so that I may exterminate them in an instant." At this they fell with their faces to the ground. Moses then said to Aaron, "Take the fire holder and put fire from the altar in it, and put incense on it, and go quickly to the assembly and make atonement for them, because indignation has gone out from Jehovah. The plague has started." Aaron at once took it, just as Moses had said, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and look, the plague had started among the people. So he put the incense on the fire holder and began making atonement for the people. He kept standing between the dead and the living, and the scourge eventually stopped. Those who died from the scourge amounted to 14,700, besides those dead on account of Korah. When at last Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent of meeting, the scourge had been stopped. Number 17. Jehovah now said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and take from them 1 rod for each paternal house, from the chieftains of each paternal house. 12 rods in all. Write the name of each one on his rod. You should write Aaron's name on Levi's rod, because there is 1 rod for the head of each paternal house. Deposit the rods in the tent of meeting before the testimony, where I regularly present myself to you. And the rod of the man whom I choose will bud, and I will put a stop to the murmuring of the Israelites against me, which they are also murmuring against you." So Moses spoke to the Israelites, and all their chieftains gave him rods, a rod for each chieftain of a paternal house, 12 rods, and Aaron's rod was among their rods. Then Moses deposited the rods before Jehovah in the tent of the testimony. On the next day, when Moses went into the tent of the testimony, look, Aaron's rod for the house of Levi had budded and was bringing forth buds and blossoming flowers and bearing ripe almonds. Moses then brought out all the rods from before Jehovah to all the people of Israel. They looked at them, and each man took his own rod. Jehovah then said to Moses, "Put Aaron's rod back before the testimony as something to be kept for a sign to the sons of rebelliousness, so that their murmurings against me may cease, and so that they may not die." Moses immediately did just as Jehovah had commanded him. He did just so. The Israelites then said to Moses, "Now we will die. We will surely perish. We are all going to perish. Anyone who even comes close to Jehovah's tabernacle will die. Must we end up dying that way?" Numbers 18. Jehovah then said to Aaron, "You and your sons and your paternal house with you will be answerable for any error against the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you will be answerable for any error against your priesthood. Also bring near your brothers of the tribe of Levi, your ancestral tribe, so that they may join you and minister to you and your sons before the tent of testimony. They are to fulfill their responsibilities to you and to the entire tent. However, they must not come near the utensils of the holy place and the altar, so that neither they nor you may die. They will join you and carry out their responsibilities regarding the tent of meeting and all the service of the tent, and no unauthorized person may come near to you. You must carry out your responsibility toward the holy place and the altar, so that no further indignation may come against the people of Israel. I myself have taken your brothers, the Levites, from among the Israelites as a gift for you. They are given to Jehovah to care for the service of the tent of meeting. You and your sons are responsible for your priestly duties pertaining to the altar and what is inside the curtain, and you are to render this service. I have given the service of the priesthood as a gift to you, and any unauthorized person who approaches you should be put to death." Jehovah spoke further to Aaron, "I myself put you in charge of the contributions made to me. I have given to you and to your sons a portion of all the holy things contributed by the Israelites as a permanent allowance. This will be yours out of the most holy offerings made by fire. Every offering they make, including their grain offerings and their sin offerings and their guilt offerings that they bring to me. It is something most holy for you and for your sons. In a most holy place you should eat it. Every male may eat it. It will be something holy to you. This also belongs to you, the gifts they contribute, together with all the wave offerings of the Israelites. I have given them to you and your sons and your daughters with you as a permanent allowance. Everyone clean in your house may eat it. All the best of the oil and all the best of the new wine and the grain, their first fruits, which they give to Jehovah, I give them to you. The first ripe fruits of everything from their land, which they will bring to Jehovah, will become yours. Everyone clean in your house may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel should become yours. Every firstborn of all living things, which they will present to Jehovah, whether man or animal, should become yours. However, you should without fail redeem the firstborn of mankind, and the firstborn of the unclean animals you should redeem. You should redeem it with the redemption price when it is a month old and up, by the estimated value of 5 silver shekels, according to the standard shekel of the holy place. It is 20 gerahs. Only the firstborn bull, or firstborn male lamb, or firstborn goat you should not redeem. They are something holy. You should sprinkle their blood on the altar, and their fat you should make smoke as an offering made by fire for a pleasing aroma to Jehovah. And their flesh should become yours, like the breast of the wave offering, and like the right leg, it should become yours. All the holy contributions that the Israelites will contribute to Jehovah, I have given to you and your sons and your daughters with you as a permanent allowance. It is a lasting covenant of salt before Jehovah for you and your offspring with you. Jehovah went on to say to Aaron, in their land you will not have inheritance, and no portion of land among them will become yours. I am your portion and your inheritance in the midst of the Israelites. Now see that I have given to the sons of Levi every 10th part in Israel as an inheritance in return to the service they are carrying out, the service of the tent of meeting. No longer may the people of Israel approach the tent of meeting, or else they will incur sin and die. The Levites themselves are to carry out the service of the tent of meeting, and they are the ones who will answer for their error. It is a lasting statute during all your generations that they should not take possession of an inheritance among the Israelites. For I have given to the Levites as an inheritance the 10th part contributed by the people of Israel, which they will contribute to Jehovah. That is why I have said to them, in the midst of the Israelites, they should not take possession of an inheritance. Then Jehovah said to Moses, you should tell the Levites, you will receive from the Israelites the 10th part that I have given to you from them for your inheritance. You should contribute from it a 10th part of the 10th part as a contribution to Jehovah, and it will be considered for your contribution as though it were the grain of the threshing floor, or the full production of the winepress or the oil press. In this way, you will also give a contribution to Jehovah from all the 10th parts that you receive from the Israelites, and from them you are to give the contribution for Jehovah to Aaron the priest. You will make every sort of contribution to Jehovah from the very best of all the gifts given to you as something holy. And you must say to them, when you contribute the best of them, then it will be considered for the Levites as the produce of the threshing floor and as the produce of the winepress or oil press. You and your household may eat it in any place, because it is your wages in return for your service at the tent of meeting. You will not incur sin in this as long as you contribute the best from them, and you must not profane the holy things of the Israelites, or if you will die. End of AV 15.